Hello again, Mean Green fans, and welcome to our final episode of the Zoom caravans that we've been doing, trying to touch all the bases with coaches, student athletes, and administrators. And we want to thank our sponsor, 308 Construction, local contractor that's headed up by Mean Green football alum Ryan Davenport. Really appreciate their support as we've tried to reach out to all of our fans around the area via Zoom. Also, thanks to the staff and the folks that make up our Mean Green Scholarship Fund. You know, scholarship costs at the University of North Texas are approaching $6 million every year. So your gifts actually mean a ton to us, especially right now. And we've had a nice run here through the summer months, despite what's going on, but we can always use more support. So encourage others to learn more about the Mean Green Scholarship Fund by going to meangreenscholarshipfund.com, or you can call the number that we have up right now and talk to some of our representatives. So today we begin with a program that was more than just on the rise, reigning conference champions and in the middle of what was an outstanding season in the spring when all of the COVID-19 crisis hit and everything suddenly stopped. And that means Rodney DeLong, the train you've been driving, had to just go off the tracks despite the fact that you guys were getting ready for a big series against Western Kentucky. Just talk about that moment in time and how you addressed it with your team.
At first, we didn't know how serious it was, so it was really weird. We got news that the weekend was cut off, and then we hear about some of the conferences shutting down, and then shortly after, we shut our season down. It was hard. We really like our kids. We got a great group of kids. Had to face them in that locker room and tell some of them seniors that their careers were done. That was really hard. Really heartfelt. It hurt me a lot. I heard a lot for them. I heard a lot for players like Hope and so, even our freshmen and some of the kids that were having great years. Just to be cut short like that, it was really unfortunate. But we handled it well. We got a good group of kids, and we'll learn from it. We're going to be better from it, and we're going to move forward.
Well, let's bring in Hope Troutwine, the ace of the staff. And I guess, Hope, if there's a silver lining, as we've talked to some other upperclassmen, you're going to get your junior year back, and that's going to extend what is already a very impressive career. How excited are you to know that you've got a little bit more time to continue what's become a very dominating performance in the circle?
I'm really excited. I had a lot of stuff that I'd wanted to do at North Texas, and now I have an extra couple years to do it. And I'm just excited to represent the program well.
Well, you've been one of those players that Rodney inherited, but who has become even better since moving over to his staff. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Jamie, the pitching coach, because it seems like you guys are really on the same radar, and that's made a huge difference for you.
Mm-hmm. Coach Jay's great. She works with not only me, but all the pitchers really well. And she kind of elevates us on the mental side more, which is what I really like. And she prepares us really well for every situation we face, what I like.
Rodney, for fans that don't understand, in the game of women's softball, if you can have a dominant pitcher that you can rely on, you can really work some wonders. And Hope's certainly one of those kind of players. How has her development come along in your estimation from what you knew that you saw in her as her freshman year to where she is now?
Oh, yeah. First of all, Hope is talented because she's an unbelievable worker, and she pays attention to her craft. She's trying to perfect her craft, and she works her butt off. So no matter who's coaching her, I think Hope's going to be a successful person and going to be a successful person in life. She's that type of kid. Jamie does a great job with her. They do work really well together. One thing that I've seen with Hope is really just her just maturing as a human, maturing as a softball player. And that's really helped her along the way, just kind of understanding her role, understanding what she brings to the team, and understanding how she can be her best. I can remember there was a time where I think we wanted her to be more of a, I guess, bulldog, you could say.
Yeah.
Hope isn't like a mean person. And I think once we understood that and we were all on the same page with that, I think we all flourished because of it. And there's no doubt that ultimately we're successful at a high level because we have a high level pitcher. And if you look at every top program across the board, they've all got a kid that's talented like Hope. And I really look forward to seeing how she can lead us to higher places. And I'm excited about the next 2 years with her leading the way for us.
Hope, some of your performances were on the road this year, the ones that were really, really memorable. Talk about 21 strikeouts against Corpus Christi. I mean, you have to know you're in a groove somewhere in the middle of that, just an overpowering performance.
It's funny. I just was trying to throw strikes. I remember the very first inning was a little rocky at first, and then, I mean, we just resorted to like just throw strikes, and it worked. I don't even remember, that game was kind of just a blur, which all great games are really. But Coach DeLong was like, just throw strikes. Like, they're not going to touch it. And the umpires, he was helping us out a little bit. He was giving us corners that I wouldn't normally get, and so we kind of just took what we could get, and it just ended up being this great game.
Anyone that understands the dynamics knows that 21 strikeouts in a game is more than dominating. It's overpowering. But you've had some great performances, and Coach, you know, you like to play good competition. You had a schedule built where Texas, OU were on there. What are you looking to do moving forward to next year in terms of scheduling?
It's going to be a little bit like that. Probably a little bit tougher as we move forward. I mean, I feel like we're growing as a program. What we've done, you know, 3 top 10 wins in 2 seasons. I think we got a winning record against the top 10, and we're right around 500, if not better, against the top 25. It's not a fluke. And where we're going, we're going to continue to challenge ourselves with the schedule. We can be a top 10, top 15 type program, and really that's what we're aiming for. And so we're going to try to prepare ourselves for the NCAA tournament. We're going to try to create an RPI that we don't rely on an automatic bid to get in. We want to get in. We feel like we're good enough to get in without an automatic bid of winning your conference tournament. So we're going to continue to prepare for that, and we're going to challenge ourselves, and hopefully we're going to make a run through an NCAA tournament.
Before we got online here, Hope and I were talking. She's down in Pflugerville right now, but she was asking about the batting cage and the bullpens, and that is one other benefit of what's been going on. The outdoor crews have made a lot of progress, and Rodney, I'm guessing you've snuck over on Bonnie Bray and taken a look. Your facility looks a lot different right now.
Oh yeah, it's growing in a good way. That facility they just built, it's going to really help us out a lot. Additional bullpens, a really great area to work for our pitchers, and a great area to work for our hitters, and something we haven't had. And I mean, I've seen a lot of hitting facilities out there as far as outdoor facilities, and this one is as good as anybody's I've seen. So we're really excited about it and thankful to you guys and to the administration for providing something like this for us.
Well, the pitcher is worried more about the bullpen area. Hope, you know, not that you haven't already been a leader, but now with that senior class not coming back and a whole wave of new talent coming in, just your thoughts on the teammates that have finished up their careers, the Ochetnickis and the Katie Clarks and Hannah Rebars, but also your thoughts on what Rodney's done in terms of recruiting, because it's a phenomenal class coming in.
Yeah, obviously our senior class cannot be replaced. They were extremely special, and they helped the development of this program immensely. But we do have some great players coming in. I'm really excited. I've touched base with a few of them, and they're all excited to come in and make waves in CUSA. And I mean, we got some big names on there. I'm excited.
Hope you stay healthy down there in Pflugerville. Tell Molly I said hi, and we look forward to getting you back. Rodney, if you just bend the bill for me just a little bit, you know, I mean, you're a straight bill guy.
You mean that way?
Yeah. Coach, good to see you. Always good to see Hope. And boy, we appreciate the time with softball. It's a program that's a lot of fun to follow right now. Can't wait for next season. Right now, though, we're going to move on to track and field with Carl Sheffield and Lauren McCullum. So we'll begin by saying, Lauren, how are you doing? You look great. I hope you're as healthy and vibrant as you appear here on the Zoom.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing pretty well. Things are going good at home. I've been working out when I can and just hanging out with my family. I've really been valuing my time with my family. So it's been going good.
I think that's been the number one constant positive that we hear. Everybody has had more time with their family. But Carl, when I turn to you, now you and your wife have still got young guys, so family time probably is still precious, but it's a lot of work. I bet it's been a lot of work for both of you during this stay-at-home phase of our lives.
It really is. I never aspired to truly be a teacher. I don't mind being an educator, but having teenagers in middle school and understanding math and Texas history is not my strong suit. So it does have its challenges. But like Lauren, I did appreciate the time that we did get to share while at home. But Yeah, they require a lot of energy right now.
Everyone's ready to get back to work, and I know spring sports really feel robbed of what happened. You had 7 student athletes receive Conference USA Indoor Track and Field On-Conference honors. Things were starting to really look good for the outdoor season. 6 school records set back in the indoor. Lauren, what was it like when you found out that, yeah, we're done? We're here we are kind of picking up momentum, and then suddenly the train just stopped.
Yeah, it was crazy because I remember we were at the UTA meet, which was our first meet of outdoor. And I was really looking forward to competing. And we got a notification that we all had to go home and we weren't able to compete that day. And I was thinking that things would get better. No one really knew what was going on. But after some weeks of not really knowing what was going on, not really hearing back, and then we got the confirmation that we were done, it was I was sad about it because I was really looking forward to outdoor. For me, outdoor is where I really flourish and I get into my prime. So to not be able to really tap into that was definitely disappointing. But I also feel like this has been a good time for us all to take a step back and reevaluate our priorities and how much our sport means to us. And for me, it really opened my eyes as to why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Carl, this young lady came to North Texas as a preferred walk-on and then goes on to become a member of the 4x400 relay team that set a school record in 2018. Tell us about her journey and how special it is when you can see someone do that when they come into a college athletic career.
Yeah, that is right on. Lauren came as a preferred walk-on by recommendation of her high school coach, who I knew personally, and said that she was a can't-miss standout track athlete, that just in time she would become one of the best people on my team, just because of the personal attributes that she had, her work ethic, that, you know, we try to identify preferred walk-ons or people that we may not have scholarship dollars at that time that we meet them, but they're going to be somebody who's going to earn money on our team for a scholarship. And we feel confident at bringing them onto our team and they becoming a part of it, that we can award an athletic scholarship aid to them in the past. She's from the time she's been here, she's been one of our biggest emotional leaders on our women's team. And you talk about having to take a kid off the track, you know, hours before a competition. And she was the rallying cry for that women's team that day when they were like, well, we're here to run. What are we going to do? I don't understand that we can't run, you know, and that was her biggest thing at that moment, was figuring out, what does this all mean? And she was the one that typically rallied the girls about, well, let's just figure out a plan. Coach is going to let us know. We'll figure out what we have to do and then move forward. And she's been that for us since day one. So I really appreciate that about her, let alone the athletic attributes that she brings to our team.
Well, I'm going to do a little recruiting right now. Lauren, you're a media arts major. You want to get into broadcasting. I need you in my sports broadcast class, because one thing that I haven't seen in the 10 or 12 years that I've been teaching it is enough student athletes. And I think you are so well suited to get into the broadcast industry because you really understand what goes on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm on a recruiting mission right now to get you in that class before you're done.
Thank you so much. I would love to be a part of that class.
Hey, tell us real quick, what have been some of the cool experiences of being on the Student Athlete Advisory Council? I know that's a leadership position, something you take seriously. Just your thoughts on being involved in that.
I really feel like it's important for us to even have this advisory committee, and I'm so thankful to be a part of it. I would say my favorite part is definitely being able to express myself and use my voice to represent my team. And just being able to feel that my voice matters and that it can make change. So I feel that's really been my biggest thing that I've enjoyed. And also getting to know other student athletes, because our schedules are always so hectic and it's kind of hard to cross paths and actually build a connection with other athletes. So being able to actually be in a room with other athletes and hear their voice has been great as well.
Final question for you, Coach. Obviously, this is a great ambassador for your program, but I know you're proud across the board, even though the season ended abruptly. Track and field student athletes did well in the classroom, and that to me is a real chore, because this was a semester that went south real quick. You could take one or two approaches on it, and your team really buckled down.
They did, you know, and I'll go back to Lauren for that, because as our SAC leader, you know, the reason she's there for me is that voice. You know, there were a lot of young people in her generation that don't feel really comfortable or have an adequate ability to voice their opinions or their perspective on things. And I think Lauren for us has been that, such a dynamic personality, being able to stand up and speak. So even in the situations that we were in, she's always been an outstanding student. I'm sure she was there rallying the cry about not giving up, not giving in. She understands that academics are important to me as a director, as a coach on our women's team. We've always been successful, and she's been one of those people. So I'm sure she was at the forefront of telling people, don't give up. Let's just keep pushing. Let's finish the year academically in a good way. And it paid off. This is, since I've been here over the last, probably during her whole time, that women's team has been over 3.0. And this is the highest GPA that we've had as a women's group since I've been back at head coach. So we're just ecstatic for what they've done and the people that have been in that group and the leadership that has come from that group.
Well, again, Lauren, thank you for your time and your service on SAC, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you in the classroom as well as on the track. And Coach Sheffield, continue to keep your crew safe and healthy. We look forward to renewed success once you're able to get out there and compete. But to both of you, thanks for your time and being a part of this Zoom Caravan.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
That was a great visit with Mean Green Track and Field, and can you believe it? We're at the end of our Zoom Caravans, but we're ending with a bang here. We can't do this without hearing from the Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at UNT, Ren Baker. And Ren, I know you've enjoyed hearing from the student athletes and your coaches, but you have a chance now to talk to fans, and I know so many questions right now. First of all, how are you and your family holding up through this? You got two young girls that probably don't enjoy being cooped up right now.
Well, we're doing good. We're healthy. We've got to spend a lot of good time together. Most of that time has been very enjoyable. My patience has been tested with them, and theirs has been tested with me at times. But hopefully, as I return to work, that new and improved patience will be an asset for me. But they're doing great. They're out in the pool almost every day, and I'm thankful. This is the first home we've had with a pool, so I'm thankful that we have that. And we got through school, and Heather survived that, and so we've cut a lot of our expenses. We haven't been going out as much, but my wine bill did go up when Heather was homeschooling. I'm not going to directly pin that on her, but it definitely I saw an increase in that expense category.
Well, in this business, you spend a lot of time away from family. And I think everyone I've talked to, and I'm sure you're in the same boat, their kids, their wives, their spouses have said, boy, I've never seen this much of you. It's been a strange time, but it's been a re-energizing time, and it's given us a lot of time to think about what's really important. I'm curious from your perspective, what sort of value changes have occurred during all this for you?
Yeah, I definitely realize how much I missed out on from a family perspective. Just with the schedule being what it is, we don't get that many dinners together. I try and help put the kids to bed 1 or 2 nights a week, but don't really get to do that every night. And so I think it's been, for just our industry as a whole, very enlightening to get a chance to spend that kind of quality time with family. And so, my hope is that we'll, as an industry and athletics professionals will be very intentional about trying to create those opportunities in the future. And I just think about, times where maybe I have 2 or 3 meetings after lunch or 2 or 3 meetings before lunch, but being able to do those at home via Zoom might give me a chance to also be around the kids, interact with them, help Heather. And so hopefully some of those things will change, because I think it's easy to fall in the habit in very demanding jobs of thinking that you have to be at the office 12, 13 hours a day. And I believe we can be efficient and effective without doing that. And this has kind of forced us to learn that.
Yeah, the pace has changed, but for you in particular, there has been a pace, and it's been a lot about trying to hit the ball on the run, because so many things early in this were changing drastically. Talk a little bit to the fans that are tuned in on how you began managing communication with coaches, student athletes, because it's been paramount. You've done a great job with it, but it hadn't been easy.
No, and things have changed at times. the sphere of what we know has changed drastically, almost instantaneously, and at times we may go 3 or 4 weeks without any substantive updates. And so it's kind of hard to develop a cadence for when those communications are. And you know this about me, I'm not big on meeting for the sake of meeting. I like for there to be some substance and to get some things done. But during these times, even if you don't have the answers, I've learned that our staff and our coaches, and to some degree our student athletes, want to hear some reassurance, or at least just connect and get a chance to learn any updates, however insignificant they may be. And so we've tried to stay in touch with our staff. We've probably averaged 1 to 2 staff meetings a month as far as full staff, but then within that, we still have our senior staff meetings every week. Executive team is met 2 to 3 times a week. Our head coaches pretty much are meeting weekly. We've had some individual meetings with teams in terms of some of our student athletes, and more of those are on the schedule for the next week or two. And I've had a full athletic department as far as student athletes meeting. And so, you know, things change quickly. The example I use is the week of the conference tournament in basketball. I started that week saying there's no way we'll cancel this tournament. We're going to play the tournament. And then within 24 hours, we went from no way we would cancel to we're going to play without fans to we're going to cancel the tournament. And Coach McCaslin and the team were driving home. He called me and he goes, "Man, is there any way they canceled the NCAA tournament?" And I said, "0 chance. It's not going to happen." And 2 hours later, they canceled it. And so, you know, things have changed quickly on the play front, certainly on the budget front, and the impacts that the pandemic's had on it. And then as we start to return people back into our facilities and start to plan stadium and venue capacities, it's all very complicated, very complex, and we're spending a lot of time on it. But I'm really blessed that we've got a great team around us, and they've done an unbelievable job of just patiently weighing through the information, working through what we know and don't know, so that we can get answers to our student athletes, to our coaches, and ultimately the fans.
You know, you're a very well-networked person in our industry, and I thought one of the interesting things that happened early in the COVID-19 crisis was a forum you were a part of with Joe Castiglione, the longtime athletic director at Oklahoma. Obviously, the programs are different in many ways, but the baseline models are going to be the same, care for student athletes. I thought that was a really good way to start considering what's going on. I'm curious, who are some other people that you've relied on within college athletics to come up with some best practices or steal some ideas, models from, as everybody tries to work together?
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this some, but we've been in more meetings since this hit than before. I mean, we're constantly in meetings, and so certainly have relied on people who've always been mentors and friends. Joe is one who I met early in my career and who's been unbelievable to me. Bubba Cunningham and I've had some conversations. Colleagues from other leagues, Troy Dannon at Tulane's the chair of the American Athletic Conference, and he and I have talked a lot. We're good friends, so I kind of know what the American is thinking and what they're doing. Our ADs in our league, we were meeting 3 days a week for a long time. We've backed that down to 2 days a week, and probably going to go to 1 here pretty soon. But we're sharing ideas, talking about best practices, sharing ideas on where we've been able to find savings in the budget and things like that. And so, yeah, that network comes in handy right now because you know, you don't, and it extends beyond college athletics. You know this because we talked about it on our senior staff this week. The Rangers are likely going to play before we do if they come to agreement. If Major League Baseball come to agreement with the players. And so we've got several friends in that organization, so we want to steal some of their social distancing plans for our venues. And so, you know, those are very helpful to have those contacts and to make sure that we're going at this together and make sure we're keeping the student athletes and their health and safety at the forefront of everything we do, but also our staff and certainly our fans. And so it's a blessing to be able to lean on people who you respect as colleagues, as mentors, and who have a wealth of experience. And Joe has been great to me over the years. I owe him a lot. He's been somebody who I've had a lot of contact with, and so it was fun to do that forum with him and participate in so many of the others, but also to be able to watch a lot of other forums that I was just listening to. So.
You know, Ren, the other layer to all of this, in addition to COVID and the safety concerns, is what's going on in society with some of the racial issues right now. And when you work in an athletic department, you're blessed to be among a diverse group of young men, women, coaches, staff. Our industry has always been very diverse. And when you look at the student athletes that make up our SAC committee, so many of them that have been on these Zoom caravans, it's a great cross section of people, young men, young women, different ethnicities. It seems to me those kids have a great voice for you. You listen to them. As we move forward, how big a role will they play in kind of setting the bar for how we handle things at North Texas?
Well, they'll definitely play a role. And listen, I'm encouraged by the conversations that we're having as a society. People are, maybe for the first time listening to the position of other people. And if you have not sat in a chair, you don't know what you don't know. And, I think we have some important issues in our society. I still think we have a ways to go to feel like there's social justice and equality for all, and that we've eliminated racism. And, we're committed, the university's committed, the athletic department's committed to using our influence to help bring some meaningful dialogue, some education, some positive changes. And our student athletes are very passionate, but they love each other. And they really seek to understand each other's perspective, and they can be leaders in that conversation. And I think if we take advantage of this opportunity and we listen, we learn, we work together, we can make some real advancements in our department, on our campus, in our community, but most importantly as a society. And when I look at just kind of the culture and climate within athletics, we are very diverse. And just talking to some of our kids over the past few days and weeks, I think they really value and appreciate that and what it brings to their life. It's when they get outside of our building that maybe there's certain areas of their life they don't experience that, and the people around them haven't experienced it. And so we just got to find a way to bring people together to talk and use the thoughtfulness and passionate energy that our student athletes have and their strong desire to make a difference to advance the conversation for all of us. So I see what we're going through as an opportunity to really take a step forward as a society. And this country is still it's a great country. I believe in it. I believe in what we can be, but I don't think personally that we're there yet. And I look forward to having conversations with our student athletes about what we can do in our sphere of influence to educate, to create conversation and make change.
I think we all agree sports will play a role in that. It's not the only answer, but it's certainly a way to get people back together and focused on good things moving ahead. And that's what you're focused on right now, and that is trying to get football season, fall sports back and rolling. As we tape this, we're about 80 days away from kickoff. We don't know what the season will end up looking like. Certainly there could be some changes, but right now, your message to everybody in this department is we are planning the season as it looks on paper right now, and we need season ticket purchases and we need Mean Green Scholarship Fund donations to come through. Nothing has changed. Those are two incredibly important arteries to our success as a department.
Yeah, listen, obviously we want to play a fall sports season, and it would certainly be detrimental if we don't. But what would be most detrimental is if we lost the momentum that's been created in our athletic department. And it's not just in football, and it's not just in competition. Our academic success rates are higher than ever before. Our graduation rates are higher than ever before. Our GPAs are higher than ever before. Our winning percentages and the number of winning teams and the championships are higher than ever before. And so the only way that we can ensure, regardless of what happens in the fall, that we continue that momentum is with support and resources. And our Mean Green Scholarship Fund members are an integral part of that. And I've been really candid in saying I know that some people have went through personal loss, whether it was their health or their finances or whatever. And for those individuals, all I have to say is thank you for the support that you've given us. If you can't do it at the same level this year, I understand. But for the people who can, we need you now more than ever. And with our, I believe we'll have a football season. If I were to guess today, I think we'll probably have some capacity restrictions and some protective and social distancing measures in place. That's kind of the indication that we're getting from the governor's office. But I think the ticket assurance plan that we put out really gives people the ability to lock in their seats, lock in their donations. But if worst case scenario, if we're not able to play, or if they're not comfortable with the plans that we lay out as we get closer to playing, then there's options, and those options include a refund. And so, but that helps us plan. We kind of know what we're looking at. If we are at 50% capacity, which we could very well be, we really are only going to have room for season ticket holders, some students, and because our students pay a fee and support us, visiting team, and perhaps a band. There's not going to be a lot of room for walk-up day of game sales. And so it is important for our fans who will want to come see us play to get those renewals in, so that they lock in their place. And then ultimately, if they want a refund because they're concerned about their health or safety, or are not excited about the adjustments we've had to make, we're going to make good with everybody on that.
Yeah, lots of flexibility there, and a great customer service perspective on it. So again, we encourage you right now, go ahead, get those season tickets. We do want that taken care of sooner rather than later, but planning on September 5th. And Ren, as we conclude, we've done our safe distancing as a department, and I've spent a lot of time up in the radio booth here at Apogee just because I could open the window and get good Wi-Fi. And it's a reminder every day when you have that view of what's happened on this campus, and you've certainly had a huge hand in it. But I look out the window and see the indoor practice facility. I know where the Bruzzies golf facility is going to fall, and this whole area is still alive and thriving with projects. You've been able to get stuff done with softball during this time. Assess where you are in your own mind in terms of facility enhancement.
Yeah, we've come such a long way due to our supporters. And Jared actually stopped me the other day and reminded me that we're kind of coming on the conclusion of our 4th year and entering the 5th year of our 5-year strategic plan. And so he's like, we need to start talking about updating it. And when you look back at the progress we've made together, it is remarkable. And that's because the support that we've received from campus, our board, our chancellor, President Smotrich, is a huge champion for our athletic program. The other vice presidents have been tremendous. Our donors have stepped up and done unprecedented things. I think if you look at the top 5 best giving years in our history, 3 or 4 of them have come here in the last few years. And so, for us to continue to be what we want to be, I mean, when I came here, I heard a lot of we should be able to be Boise in football. We should be able to be Butler in basketball. We should be, be able to do this and do that. Be one of the best comprehensive non-Power 5 programs in the country. And I agree with all of that, but it takes everybody. And so we've made a lot of progress with the soccer, track and field facility, with the stadium, with Apogee Stadium, with our indoor practice facility, now with Bruzzies. The tennis complex is really nice. But for us to take the next step, we've got to continue to invest in facilities. It's important to have that infrastructure. And so the next step for us will be that the athletic center in the End Zone Stadium, which is going to be critical for our academic support efforts for our student athlete health and safety, new athletic training room, new strength and conditioning center, all of that stuff. And then ultimately, we've got more work to do at softball and over in Mean Green Olympic Village with our volleyball facility as well. So it never stops. Facility is one of those things. It's kind of like Coach Sutton used to say, when you're playing defense, you're never in position. You're always fighting to get there. And that's how we feel sometimes. You don't get to an ending point. You just kind of keep on moving the goalposts. But I'm really proud of the progress we've made, and I'm really grateful to everybody who's helped make that happen.
Well, and like you said before, it's all about keeping that momentum going. These are challenging times, but so far so good. Our Mean Green family has stayed safe and healthy, and you've put in a lot of protocols to make sure that continues. So we appreciate your time on this. Look forward to seeing more of those coaches and student athletes get back. I know that's your ultimate goal.
Hey, the best thing about these protocols is every day we come in and we get our temperature check, and you get your grade, and it's like mine's always 97 point something. It's the highest grades I've ever received in my life. It's like I passed. And so my GPA is through the roof right now as well, because I'm getting all these 97s.
Stay healthy, and thanks again for joining us on these Zoom caravans. Next year we'll get back out into the areas we normally go to, but this has been a nice way to get everyone incorporated.
No, thank you, Hank, for hosting them. I've enjoyed them. I've watched them all, and thanks to our fans and staff for participating, and our staff for putting it together, and our student athletes for taking their time and sharing some of their stories. And listen, we're going to continue to work together to build champions who prepare leaders. And this is an unprecedented time, but I know that we're going to emerge stronger. And that's not lip service. I believe we're positioned to come out of the pandemic and advance our position within the college athletics circle. And so with your help, your support, and your continued involvement, we'll do that together.
Thanks again to Ren Baker and to all the student athletes and coaches who have joined us throughout these episodes of our Zoom caravans. And thanks to you for joining us and learning a little bit more about all of our intercollegiate athletic teams here at North Texas. We are fired up for the football season, and we hope you are too. We've talked about ticket assurance program several times. Here's the schedule. It all gets started on September 5th against Houston Baptist, and we want you in the stands. Also, I would encourage you to follow us all season long on the Mean Green Sports Network with my colleague Dave Barnett. We're looking forward to being back in the booth and announcing Mean Green football in 2020. So, for Zach Powell, who's put all this together, I'm Hank Dickinson. Thanks again for joining us on the Zoom Caravans, and go Mean Green.